Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at Champlain Centre Mall in Plattsburgh, New York. As always, I'm asking the question, is this a dead mall, a dying mall, or is it doing just fine? I would say that my answer in this case isn't conclusive, but I'm leaning towards it being on the fence between a dying mall and doing just fine. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. This video was filmed back in late November 2023, and the first thing I noticed about this mall was that it appears a bit run down, especially from the outside. And right there, it looks like a car drove through the main entrance. Not sure if that's what happened or not, but it sure looks like it. I assume that's probably been fixed by now. This weird-looking tower thing here is called the Gizmo, or the Ball Machine. It was built by artist George Rhodes and was built in 1986, apparently during the construction of the mall. It either wasn't working when I was at the mall or it just wasn't turned on, but when it's working it kind of looks like a mix between a windmill and a Rube Goldberg machine. Like I said, this mall's in Plattsburgh, New York, which if you don't know the area, and I definitely don't know the area, is about 20 miles south of the Canadian border. That makes it currently the northernmost mall I've ever been to. It's also probably one of the most remote malls I've ever been to. Just to give you an idea of how remote it is, the last mall I was at before this was Aviation Mall in Queensbury, New York. There are no malls between Aviation Mall and here, and it was about a 1 hour, 45-minute drive. Then the next closest mall is University Mall in South Burlington, Vermont, and even that's over an hour's drive away, so this place is pretty far out there. Now, a little bit of history on the mall. It opened in July 1987. It was developed by the Pyramid Company, and it's still owned by them today, which is a bit unusual because a lot of the malls I've been to have been sold numerous times over the years. Before the mall opened, the Pyramid Company originally owned a nearby mall called, not surprisingly, Pyramid Mall. However, when they opened this mall, they renamed Pyramid Mall to Champlain Centre South, and this mall was called Champlain Centre North. Sadly, Champlain Centre South was demolished in the late 90s, and I believe it's around that time that this mall was renamed to just Champlain Centre. The original anchor stores were JCPenney, Hills, Steinbach, Sears, Service Merchandise, and Hoyt's Cinema. Not surprisingly, JCPenney is the only remaining original anchor store here, which, as I've said before, seems to be the case in most of the malls I go to. We'll have to see how long it stays that way, though. Hopefully JCPenney doesn't go out of business in the near future. I'm guessing that there used to be stores on either side of this hallway at one point, but I'm not sure. If anybody knows what used to be here, let me know in the comments. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up. Thanks. At the end of the hallway here, we have Kohl's. That's actually the location of the original anchor store, Sears. The Sears closed in 2016. Hobby Lobby moved into one side of the space in 2017, which is on the other side of the store. You actually can't enter Hobby Lobby from inside the mall. And then that Kohl's moved into the space in 2019. At the end of this hallway is the location of the original anchor store, Service Merchandise, which was here from 1987 until 1999. It was replaced by Gander Mountain in 2004, which sold things like hunting and camping gear, which would explain the fake trees. Gander Mountain closed in 2017, but briefly reopened in 2018 as Gander Outdoors, but then closed again for good in 2019. At some point, probably after 2019, the space was divided into two businesses. The small one out front there is Lake City Sports Club, but then the rest of the space was converted into an Ollie's in 2020. And as you can see, you can't access the Ollie's from inside the mall, which seems to be a trend with a lot of Ollie's I'm seeing. On the right, we have Old Navy, which opened in 1998, and I'm not sure what was in there before it was Old Navy.
But I don't. I can't even find out.
Ooh, that Commodore 64 in the original box caught my eye. pretty sure I've never seen one of those in a mall, at least not since the mid-'80s. That's pretty cool. Here's the JCPenney. It is closed, but it's not out of business. The reason it's not open yet is I filmed this at about 10:30 in the morning, and the JCPenney didn't open until 11. In order to get a better idea of how this mall is doing, I figured I should check out some of the review websites like Yelp and TripAdvisor. From what I read, the consensus seems to be that many of the locals consider this mall to be below average and nowhere near as good as the malls just over the border in Quebec. A lot of people also commented that there used to be a lot more stores and what they consider to be better stores in the past. They also pointed out that the selection of restaurants just isn't what it used to be either. Others commented that the mall hasn't really had any significant renovations since it opened in 1987, that it feels outdated, and it's in desperate need of a facelift. One other even commented that it felt desolate. Overall, I have to say that from what I've seen, I do agree with most of these comments, and if this is your local mall or you've been here before, let me know what your thoughts are on this mall. Straight ahead, this is where the other original anchor store Steinbach's was located until 1999, when the entire company went out of business. The Dicks moved in 2003. I have to say I do like that the mall's kept these planters here in the center with the little trees. Not sure if those are real trees or not, but it's always good to see some sort of shrubbery or greenery in a mall, which you just don't see often enough anymore. Coming up on the right is something I've never seen before at a mall, or actually anywhere. It's an international currency exchange, which makes sense being that we're so close to Canada, but again, I've never run across one before. Here's the food court, and I think a food court is often a good indicator of how well a mall is doing. And as far as I can tell, there seem to be 3 open restaurants here, and 4 are out of business, as far as I can tell. I could be wrong about those numbers, but that's what it looks like to me. And that's not good. That's over 50% of the restaurants being closed. Now let's take a look inside the arcade. This one's called Fun Zone, and I don't think I've been to a Fun Zone before. And this one, of course, uses the card system, not quarters, so like at the Monmouth Mall, I'm not going to put money on a card when I'm only going to be here for like 5 minutes. And like I said in that video on the Monmouth Mall, I think arcades like this would probably do better if they used quarters. Or they had the option of quarters or a card system. But overall, this arcade looks fairly impressive. It's got a lot of actual arcade games, and it's not just all claw machines and like vending machine type stuff. So it's not bad, but of course, there's nobody here. And sorry, but no bathroom tour this time. And is the only prize in this vending machine that giant teddy bear? That's kind of weird. Here's the movie theater. It's a Regal Cinemas. And this was originally the Hoyt's when it first opened. Apparently it became Regal Cinemas in 2012. Looks like they have a fairly decent arcade in there as well. Coming up on the right, just past the Sbarro, is the Target. The Target was actually built in 2008, but before that it was the location of the other original anchor store, Hills. The Hills became Ames in 1999, but that didn't last too long as Ames went out of business in 2002. And then it seems like the old Ames location was vacant for probably a few years, I think, and then it was finally demolished and the Target was built in its place. And then straight ahead where the Ross's is today, that used to be Best Buy. Best Buy was there from 2006 until 2021. And before that, it was Rex Appliances, which closed in 2005. But I'm not sure what was there before that. From what I read, there was also a Toys R Us at this mall that opened in 1997. And it closed either in the late 90s, like 98 or 99, or 2002, depending on which source you believe. If anybody knows the correct date, please let me know in the comments. Also, I'm not sure where that was in the mall. It was apparently replaced by Borders Books and Music in either 2002 or 2005. Again, I got two different dates on two different websites. But then the Borders closed in 2011 and was replaced by Wendell's Furniture in 2012. There's an old Hollister's on the left, and those are a pretty common sight at most malls nowadays. A few of them have been repurposed into other stores, but a lot of them are still vacant. So now that you've seen the interior of the mall, let me know what you think about it. Do you think this is a dead mall, a dying mall, or is it doing just fine? Again, I would argue that it's on the edge between doing just fine and being a dying mall. But overall, it seems to be doing okay. But it's right on that border there. Now, don't go anywhere yet. Like usual, I'm going to do a drive around of the mall and we can see what it looks like from the outside. Here's the Target. And like I said, this was originally the location of Hills and then Ames, and then that whole building got demolished, and this building went up in 2008. And as you can probably tell, that's clearly the old Best Buy, just based on that design there. And here's a picture of what it used to look like when it was Best Buy. And here's the JCPenney, which has always been JCPenney. And it looks very outdated. It looks very 1987 to me. I kind of doubt they're going to do any renovations, though, anytime soon, just because, as most of you know, JCPenney really isn't doing too well financially at this point. Here's the Kohl's, and then just after that is Hobby Lobby, and this whole building here was the old Sears. I'm pretty sure this would have been the Sears Automotive Center. And then here's the Ollie's, which was originally Service Merchandise, and then Gander Mountain, then Gander Outdoors, and then Ollie's since 2020. Here's what it looked like when it was Gander Mountain. And then this is what it looked like when it was Gander Outdoors, which, as far as I can tell, were pretty much the same store. Here's Dick's, which was originally Steinbach's when the mall first opened. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that used to be an entrance at one point. Seems like a weird spot for an entrance, though, being on the side of the building, not directly in front of any parking spots. there you have it. That's Champlain Centre Mall in Plattsburgh, New York. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos and store videos coming up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.